Welcome everyone. Today I wanted to discuss with you about how Skyrim's missing magic effects turned combat and boss fights into predictable, low-stakes affairs. Older Elder Scrolls games like Daggerfall, Morrowind, and Oblivion gave NPC mages, high-level enemies, and even creatures real magical defenses and counter-attacking options. Those games featured the following magic effects: spell absorption, spell reflection, and reflect physical damage, which were part of the mysticism school of magic. Silence, which was part of the illusion school of magic. In both Daggerfall and Morrowind, creatures and NPCs actively utilize these unique mechanics to neutralize incoming player magic, counter with silence or reflection, and redirect damage straight back to the caster. Morrowind creatures routinely drained attributes, throwing chaos into every fight. Greater Bonewalkers could slam your strength and endurance with a single touch, often leaving you too weak to move or swing a weapon until you restore the damage at a shrine. Ascended Sleepers and high-level Ash creatures spread blight diseases that sapped multiple attributes at once, turning a solid character into a struggling mess mid-combat. Oblivion added reflect physical damage, a brutal counter to melee warriors that bounced physical hits straight back to the attacker. The Clanfear, for example, carried an innate 20% reflect damage, so every swing you landed also hurt you. On greater difficulties, the reflected damage scaled up even further, turning aggressive close-quarter combat into a dangerous gamble. Swing too hard or too often, and you could easily kill yourself on the enemy's own defenses. Then there is the wicked reflect magic effect. If you get reckless by slinging fireballs, you risk incinerating yourself due to reflection. Facing the Winged Twilight was my worst nightmare when playing as a pure destruction mage. Golden Saints and Remora too carried inherent reflect, so a powerful destruction spell had a real chance of bouncing straight back and cooking you instead. Reflection is a spectacular effect which ensured every encounter felt dangerous and unpredictable. Occasionally, you would also watch enemies simply absorb your magic and keep casting. Atronachs and Ash Ghouls were especially notorious for this, turning what should have been a self-ranged engagement into a dangerous coin flip every time you opened with a big spell. In Daggerfall, silence was a real threat to pure mages. The Daedroth frequently cast it, shutting down your spellcasting the moment they got close and forcing you into melee or desperate fleeing. Human spellcasters also used silence regularly, while Wraiths preferred the ranged far silence version, hitting you from a distance and leaving you unable to cast anything while they closed in or continued attacking. Skyrim stripped away almost all of that. Reflect spell, gone. Reflect physical damage, eliminated. Silence, disposed. Drain attributes, obliterated. Spell absorption, significantly nerfed. Magic resistance, hardly used. Miraak is essentially the sole vanilla NPC who can absorb spells. Better NPCs get a weak version, and no other creature, Daedric or otherwise, uses spell absorption. Magic resistance appears just as rarely. Orchendor is the only vanilla NPC with innate 100% magic resistance, making him a genuine threat to magic-heavy characters. Without those defenses, fighting mages, creatures, and other high-level enemies becomes one-dimensional and entirely predictable. Even dragon priests fall easily no matter your build. In Skyrim, high-level enemies have only minor or equipment-based resistances at best. No other named NPC or creature comes close to matching either Miraak's absorption or Orchendor's total magic immunity. This scarcity is exactly why combat against Skyrim's enemies feels so one-dimensional compared to the older games. Why did Bethesda do this? If you think about it, Skyrim also removed attributes, class selection, spell making, and many other mechanics, so the loss of reflect, silence, and strong absorption fits the same pattern. Mysticism as a school was eliminated. Spell reflection belonged to that more esoteric school of magic. But instead of transferring these magic effects into other schools, Bethesda just eliminated them. They sacrificed the dangerous and unpredictable magic ecosystem of the older games in favor of smoother accessibility and stronger player power fantasy. What a shame! Let me know in the comments below with your thoughts on why Bethesda ruthlessly removed these incredible effects. I'd love to read up on your observations. Now, for the Elder Scrolls 6, will Bethesda add these back in? Let's take a look at Starfield. Starfield features a reflection mechanic, and the enchantment or legendary effect, as they are called in that game, is named Mirror rather than Reflect. Your character gets a 4% chance to reflect incoming attacks at your enemy. So it looks like they have not forgotten about spell reflection, right? I'm hanging on to some hope here. Sadly, Skyrim's massive financial success is a double-edged sword. While it elevated the brand, it firmly locked the studio into a cycle of chasing broad market appeal and high profit margins, rather than catering to niche, immersive gameplay systems. I'm hopeful that Bethesda will reintroduce these effects in the Elder Scrolls 6, which is guaranteed to elevate mage, creature, and boss combat to multiple levels of greatness. If they don't get serious about spell absorption, spell reflection, reflect physical damage, and silence, then Elder Scrolls 6 mage and creature combat would be as bland and predictable as it was in Skyrim. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, the Magic Direct, in another episode of Bethesda's abandoned RPG mechanics. Your comments help me immensely. Please share your thoughts freely. Thank you for watching. May the Divines watch over you.